more or significantly higher amount of Valorant than we've seen out of version 1. Will there be any rust for version 1? We don't know, but the speculation is over. We're ready to get started with round number 1 between V1 and T1. Try not to get too confused. If you need any help, you can look at the top of your screen. And immediately, right off the rip, the attackers favoring A.
Yep. Pushing down long. Applying some pressure here early on, and it looks like it's been somewhat red. That Viper wall is going to kind of give away the intention here.
A double stack up on A as well from T1. And Zelsis will head through that Viper wall, as you'd mentioned. Some marks coming in, and then smokes as well to cut off sewers. First kill of the matchup's going to go to Automatic, and T1's guns are hitting all of their marks. Pistols out, using very effectively. First casualty for Team 1 is Brax. He'll fire back and forth, leaving Vanity in a 1v3, and he won't prevail. T1 clean up after able to rotate very quickly back to A to shut down the push from version 1.
So obviously that was a pretty easy read there once the wall came out, and it was a full commit there from version 1 as well. It ended up, it looked like it was going to actually work out fairly well on the initial entry, but T1's guns were alive and ready. So pistol round going to T1, and they're going to be all the better for it. Looks like version 1 now just considering their options. Different Viper wall going down this time around. The screen is going to be for long. Try and figure out what the information they can cut off there.
Zelsis holds on to that pistol out. Vanity with the spike, and they're going to go through connector here, watching Skadoodle with the flash. No, he's going to use intel instead. Backing away as a smoke will go off in front of him to cut off a line of sight on the flank, I guess you call it. Zelsis, he's not going to win his duel against Dawn, and down he goes. So that's a bit of a troubling start right now for the attackers, who've decided that C, not worth it. Instead of that version 1 have peeled off, the spike is now heading towards B. Penny will need to jet on out with Vanity just right next to him, lined up with the Sova.
We're used to the camera there from Curry, and that's going to give the information, but the spike is still being planted here for version 1. They're going for it, and they'll get it. That's the economy, at least, if nothing else. They still have to rebuff the retake here from T1.
Spike is down, so the clock is ticking. An Automatic, gun in hand, will push on up. Drone accompanying him. He's got his teammates by his side. They've retaken the site, but they need to do something about the spike, which is down. A flank could potentially hurt them. They won't look that way. Automatic trying to push onto big window. Can't really do anything. Out goes the shock dart. Some damage done. Effie's is ready to swing, waiting to hear for the cue. Skadoodle gets gunned down by Whippy. Nice shot from him. Automatic needs to be the one to stop it. It's Brax to clean up, though. 2 big kills. Automatic stops it in his tracks. And that's the round for T1. 2 in a row.
A lot of that comes down to the confidence of you've got the SMGs, you know you're dealing with pistols right now. On the retake, so quick for T1. They know they didn't have to worry about too much immediate action in the actual bomb site, and they were right about that. Great post-plant play from Whippy. Really love the way he was using that Viper. It's exactly what you need to do in that situation, but because there was no initial delay right after the plant went down from anyone really on V1 in the actual site, it was just too easy for T1 to clean that up.
I don't know if you caught it, but when Zelsis swung around towards C, it had B play already fallen off for version 1. Was Zelsis just there as a distraction playing to die? That's the question I have to ask, but I'll have to review the tape for that one. Automatic op in hand, down goes Whippy. Very first pick here of this third round. It's a full buy that comes out from version 1 now. So they've got some gunfire that they're capable of throwing back in. Just isolating that spike, because it'll go down yet again on the B site. They'll back away. Curry there trying his best to try and hang on to this site. With his teammates nearby. We'll go the Astro Orbs and a heal as well, as now Penny is waiting for a sound cue to play off of this. You can hear bullets going out. A flash will go by as well. Penny hasn't been spotted. Unsure if T1 knows of Penny's location. You try to quarterback this off. 9 players still alive in the server. Defusing going on from Skadoodle. Do they know they're trying to stop him? He'll get to the halfway mark as they trade out kills, leaving V1 at a major disadvantage. Out goes a dart, but it does nothing, and well, it's a defuse while they couldn't get to it in time. T1 takes the third round.
We talked about how pivotal Haven is going to be, and so far T1 are putting up some really impressive retakes here. That was almost the same exact post plant as the second round, reflected in the third. The only major difference, of course, is that version 1 now have rifles and utility aplenty. So you'd think they'd be able to hold that post plant a little bit better, but no. Seems like T1 are just too ready for it. The patience being displayed from T1, by the way, on their retake into B is admirable. Really got to respect when they don't just rush themselves in there. They check all their corners, very thorough, and when they go for the retake by mid, they are taking it together. Works out great for them.
Now scouting B for FEs, as that seems to be the play and where they want it. The spike is already in the middle of B, and Penny's getting it down very quickly. Spike being juggled on over. Zelsis now will try to cover on the flank. That's where Skadoodle will likely come from. He scouted it out. Still, T1 has intel on this B site. So far through these last 2 rounds, T1 have been picture perfect on shutting down a potential retake from V1 or a post plant now, as their retake has been quite strong. Curry fakes the sound with Penny still in this exact same position. The element of Dawn is not too far off of being able to see this jet. But who moves a muscle first? That's the real question. Vanity trying to make some noise on the flank to distract them, and it looks like V1 is getting really aggressive on the retake. Doesn't work so well for Penny, but Whippy it does, and FEs as well. They're on the defuse. There it is. Unfortunately for them, V1 are too focused on getting their kills, and they lose out on the objective. And T1 takes their 4th in a row.
Wow. So a very different post plant that time around. Much more aggressive from version 1. But it doesn't work out yet again, Parker. This is rough to see when you have version 1 clearly putting up very specific strategies surrounding that post plant. They've got the utility lined up. They're ready to try and deny that disable of the spike with, or that defuse of the spike with FEs and Whippy both trying to use their utility. It's just not working, Parker. There's too much objective focus from T1, and version 1's not ready for it.
Version 1 continues to hammer away at that B site. Now they get the opening pick, and the duel and the first blood goes in their favor very quickly here on round 5. Spike looked like it was lined up for a C take through Garage, but instead, no, they're walking it back. Could it be a belated swing over towards A? Automatic shutting down Vanity, though. Zelsis has made his way towards the top of sewers. He's looking towards A long, and he'll head in that direction. It's losing proximity with that turret. And that's been the call from version 1. Let's take A. Problem for T1 is they've still got 2 bodies stacked up on C. The only player from T1 who seems to be wise to this is Curry, who's now heading through spawn to try and hold up against this. Spike being planted, Zelsis at the halfway mark, it'll be successful. T1 have been great in the post plant. Will this continue to carry over? That's the real question. They're spread out, but they'll need to retake the site. Unfortunately for them, Automatic is a little bit too far behind, but he'll get there just hopefully a little bit sooner than he already is. Nobody's really moving a muscle right now. Waiting for utility to go on out. Automatic bursts in. Knives out, but no damage that can be done just yet. Smoking his way up. Zelsis just misses out on it. He gets smoked by Curry. Penny trades off. Brax now waiting. Nice shot from Dawn and Brax to combine. It's Whippy in a 1v3. They're on the defuse. You're going to have to fire it away, but no, Dawn will sneak it again. And how many times is T1 going to get away with this as once again their retake goes flawlessly?
Beautiful job there from T1. They just ate that utility from the Viper as well. The snake bite not enough to deny that diffuse. And now T1, it's crazy, Parker, because we're seeing such great objective play from version 1, but we're seeing even better objective play from T1. And that back and forth resulting in a 5-0 for T1. I mean, that's devastating. The economy for version 1's not terrible. It's not great. But they've been getting that spike plant all these rounds, so they can definitely keep buying. They're going to bring knives on Penny this round, though, and he's already out of the equation. Say
goodnight to Penny. Nice shot from Automatic. He's been wonderful with that operator thus far, and carrying the team in terms of kills. Out. On, backing away as everybody from version 1 entering the site are getting swiftly removed. Effie's is the last hope, but no, it's 6 in a row for Team 1. And you talked about the economy. They're trying their best, but version 1, no matter whether they have pistols or full buys, they just cannot do anything yet.
Yeah, that's a devastating round there, Parker. And you can kind of see that reflected in the scoreboard right now. Take a look at Zelsis as well. He has yet to get his first kill since his return. So a little bit of pressure, I'm sure, will be mounting for him in due time. Obviously, he's going to be doing a little bit better when they switch over to defense because, of course, he's playing on that Killjoy. But so far, I mean, we've seen some great stuff from version 1. They've just not been able to hold that post plant. In that round, they couldn't even get into the site.
I mean, there's got to be some ring rust as well from Zelsis. He hasn't played an official match for his team. You know, maybe he's scrimming with them, sure, but that's no substitute for actual live action. All the while, Here goes the Viper's Nest, and it looks like the take is going to be B. Version1 have not had much success here, but there they go. They managed to take Curry out of action. Brax will try and stop them, also get some intel in the process. Spike going down over the halfway mark. It'll be successful. The post plant for V1 has been quite miserable, and T1 have excelled every single time they've gone to retake the site. Will it be 5th time's a charm? That's the question. T1 are going to try to wait out this Viper's Nest as Penny guards over it. He'll be spotted out by the Sky, or not. Skadoodle looks like she loses it, or he loses it rather at the same time. Flash goes out, Penny looks away. They're still holding this down. Patience was something you talked about for version 1, but right now I think they might be a little bit too slow, as T1 are just not able to get into the site the way that they want to. Zelsis watching the doors, looking for kill number 1 for Zelsis still. I feel like that's it.
Yep.
Spike point past the point of no return. It's a save from Team 1. Nice shot, and they're managing to knock them down and hurt them as much as they can. 3 kills from Team 1 come out, but T1 just can't quite do it. Make that 4. Version 1 pick up their very first round.
All right, well, yeah, you said it. Version 1, they get their first round, but it's a Pyrrhic victory. As every single player dies, so you're going to have to rebuy all those kits. But a win's a win, Parker. And at this point, if I'm version 1, I'll take it. All right, let's go. We're on the board. Fantastic to see. I actually like the call there from T1 to not full commit to that retake. A Viper's Pit often, especially when it's already post-plan, is going to win you the round. And clearly, version 1 were well set up on that Viper's Pit. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for T1 to retake there. So yeah, save the guns. Keep your economy absolutely stellar. And that's exactly what we saw T1 do. Now, it's a tactical timeout here from version 1, and I think this is the right time to take one.
Absolutely. You just hit the halfway point, or just surpassed the halfway point of the half of the first 12 rounds. I was trying to be way more clever, but I realized that I can't do fractions on live air. Probably can't do them off air too, if I'm being honest. But while we reflect on this and we get a beautiful shot of the scenery here, the team credits tell you a fantastic story. Yeah. If V1 don't persevere in this round, they are flat out broke. You still have some room for error if you're T1. You start to hit the alarm bells if they lose round 8, and then round 9 following, that's when T1 will be in trouble. But if you're version 1, this round is as close to a must-win as you're going to get halfway through the matchup.
Yep. And definitely right there, Parker. And it's going to begin with some probing here by Garage. Penny just looking to see what he can find. There's nothing there. It's being played far back. And it's using, of course, Sky from Skadoodle to figure out what they're dealing with in Garage. And, well, it's a drone answer from Effie's, and the information keeps going back and forth, but no actual engagement yet.
They blaze a trail that the drone of Sova will follow. So Effie's trying to get information off of that one. I don't think he got as much as he would have liked, as version 1 are still all stacked up over on the west side of the map, looking for a potential C take, but the Spike may as well be back in their spawn. They'll rotate out. Ooh. They could be making a call to head towards A. This didn't work out successfully from V1 last time, but they've only had 1 round victory thus far.
Yeah, and take a look at this. We still have Curry's traps over by A, and on top of that, you've got Brax ready to receive this rotate. And it looks like, honestly, I think T1 has figured it out at this point, especially as the Cosmic Divide comes out. Yeah,
it seems to be the case now, as Vanity will expend all of his utility at this point. Oh no, but they've backed away as version 1 decided to call it for a quick B take. They've only got 20 seconds left to make this work. That's just about it. Penny is in, bursting forward, looking for any potential intel that could be there from T1. T1 backing away. Penny spotted. Skadoodle wins that duel. Spike goes down, but Skadoodle will now try to blind them. He's got his back to the site. The rest of T1 will need to collapse on this and do so in a hurry. Skadoodle looks the wrong way, but good news for him. Curry is back. Zelsis falls. Skadoodle now picks up number 2. Intel coming out for these defenders. They can sit on that Spike very quickly. A 4v2 doubling up for T1. Dawn falls, but so does Whippy. Effie's is gone, and that's an easy defuse of the Spike. T1 will take their 7th round.
Wow, look at that, Parker. So calm, collected, and tactical. Skadoodle alone on B realizes that it's a B plant. And instead of going for the heroic plays, instead of trying to test the Cosmic Divide, he simply waits out, knowing his team's going to rotate back in, and allows for that rotation to happen. When the Cavalry eventually does arrive, it's an easy sweep up on the site. They collapse together, And then the mid control, I mean, Version1 didn't even have time to rotate for mid to play that post plant. And it might just be because of how much time they spent faking for A.
It's going to be almost a full save here from Version1.
Ooh.
That's a rough spot to be in. They took the timeout, so they've obviously got a plan moving forward, but we talked about the economy in the previous round with how few credits they have. These op kills to start off a round for Automatic have been absolutely clutch, and the Jet breaking in his favor over his opponent. The imposter of Penny, as we'll call it. T1 now dominating, obviously. Vanity a kill. Effie's one, too. They can pick up some weaponry here. Curry's all alone, but he's holding it down very effectively, and it's the classic to do it. Another round goes in favor of T1. They're up 8-1.
At this point, Parker, you have to imagine the frustration is starting to set in for Version1. Because, I mean, yeah, save round, they don't really have a lot of options. Now, they should have some this round, but again, Zelsa still has yet to get his... can we call it a re-debut? A re-debut kill? Does that count? I don't know. I do sincerely think that might change when we switch over to the second half, though. He does have his ultimate here, so he's going to be able to drop that. And maybe that's what we'll see Version1 use to make an entry on one of the sites here.
I'm not entirely certain. We'll keep an eye on Automatic so far. He's been wonderful in these duels to start off the rounds, giving his team an advantage to carry on through. And a lot of times it's taking down Penny, who has been a standout for Version1 time and time again. Losing your footing that early on and sacrificing first blood is not where you want to be, no matter who it is, let alone one of your best players. There goes a lockdown from Zelsis. He might not be able to do much in terms of his killing ability, but his utility will need to now put in work, and they're just waiting it out as it's an A take stacked up from Version1. There's the spike in Zelsis' hand, and he'll walk in, start to get it down. T1 know this. They're retaking. Try and answer. Some intel as well from Skadoodle, and you just see they'll toss utility back and forth. Spike planted from Version1. T1 have been almost uncontested when it comes to these retakes. And they'll continue to just throw out their abilities as much as they can. Brax needs to be careful. Penny's down low looking for a kill. A retake from T1 now into the back in the heart of the site, and all their guns are hitting. Zelsis finds his first kill, but he's paid for by Curry. It's Effie's in a 1v4. T1 can taste this 9th round, and they can taste it indeed. It'll go to them. They'll defuse and trade it off, and, well, round 10 is T1's. This is an almost insurmountable lead at this point.
Yeah, Parker, it's getting really tricky here for Version1. And, I mean, okay, the lockdown didn't really amount to much at all. Honestly, it was, I'm not going to say misused because it wasn't really, but the ground that was taken during the lockdown from Version1 was basically nil. Obviously, they're waiting for the detonation so that they can be sure they'll have site control for definitively. But all it really did, at least to me, is allow for T1 to rotate, to retake as a team. After the lockdown detonated, nobody gets caught, obviously. T1 then begin their methodical retake back into the site, starting with those Seekers, trying to gather as much information as possible, trying to disrupt that hold as much as possible, and then just all the utility coming out from T1 worked out great on that retake. They did it, again, so well as a team. I love their patience.
Objective play from Version1 has been good, but obviously you referred to it as a Pyrrhic victory on a previous round, and I think you can kind of call it that for most of these, as Version1 have had a number of spikes planted, but obviously not for much. Penny's going to burst into the site. It's a C take for Version1. T1 will need to tackle this one head on. Oh, here we go. It might not be a full buy, but the Spectre's working out for Version1. 3 kills to their name. Brax is the only one to get one so far for his team. T1, well, Version1 can double up on them. It's Automatic and Brax trying to keep this intact. They might just hold off, though. Not entirely certain. Waiting patiently. Automatic still has that operator in hand. Vandal for Brax. Brax will retake through Garage. He sees Vanity, can't hit his marks. Oh no, Vanity just manages to evade him on that one. Automatic with the operator in hand, and Smokes will cloud his line of sight. With how long that spike's been down, I wouldn't fault Automatic for backing off. But no, it looks like he's going to try to do some damage. A single shot is all he's going to get before he retreats as best as he can. Vanity is waiting. A huge round from Version1, but they got a lot more to go if they want to make this a competitive match.
Also, let's leave the operator to get it out of play. Obviously, just don't want to deal with it on defense in case you happen to lose it again. So Version1, yeah, good. They got around. They're once again contributing to that scoreline. And now their economy is looking pretty good. So overall, solid stuff. I think it's mostly the confidence for me that shines through for that last round. The fact that they're just wide swinging out of Garage Connector, they're just going straight into C as a team, just come what may. It's exactly the right call. At this point, you got to throw caution to the wind and just take the fight.
A very final round of this first half with T1 holding a sizable advantage. They could put this one into a 10-2, at which point they just need to win pistols and then one more round, and that's about it. Obviously, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. Zeffy scouts with the drone, spots one, automatic, hold down the fort at C, firing blindly into Garage through that C-link, but there's nobody there to be found. Version 1 sites now might be towards this B site where, well, things haven't been quite so successful for them thus far.
Yeah, they've tried B a couple times. It has not worked out great for them. All but one of those 2 wins. This is the last round of the half here, so they're trying to make something happen on the execution. Fake out on the B. Following the fake out, they are going to rotate over to A, but this appears to have been read well by T1. They've already rotated.
They're waiting very patiently. It'll be Curry first one in. He sees some marks. One shot in, but FEs is able to trade off. Rax falling away. That Cosmic Divide still up. Automatic scouting as best as he can. I think he just missed out on seeing Zelsis. I'm not entirely certain. FEs gets the spike down, though, and it's another post-plant for T1 where they've shown thus far they're capable of beating back V1. Version 1 will now wait. Any playing the spot, you can hear the turret go off. That's some information. Maybe no damage, but it doesn't matter. At least he knows that there's somebody playing up above in heaven. Effie's with the lineup on the arrow. Automatic bursts in. Ultimate out. Knives out, but he's got his back turned, looking in the wrong direction. Dawn shuts down Penny. Automatic still searching for something. He might find one. There you go. T1 cleaning up the site, but they trade back and forth. V1 just need to find Brax. That's it. But Brax gets the kill. It's a 1v1. It's him versus Zelsis, but no, Zelsis swings, and that's the first half. V1 stitched together the final 2 rounds. It's still a 9-3 for T1, but hey, there's some life there for Version 1.
Yeah, it's better than nothing, Parker. And Zelsis with the triumphant return. He didn't get a lot of kills in that first half, but he was playing on Killjoy. And most notably, he won that 1v1 at the end to clinch out the round. And he definitely needed that. His team certainly needed that, so good for him.
Those were definitely impact kills. And you're right, now Killjoy on defense. We'll see if anything changes. We've got a break lined up for you before we get into the second half of Haven. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. If you missed it, it was a pretty lopsided first half. T1, a 9-3 scoreline, though. Version 1 did pick up those final 2 rounds. Is there going to be some momentum mentally that they can carry forward? Because, well, there's no credits that they can bring forward. It's going to be the same for both teams right now as you essentially hit this reset button, and it's defense for Version 1 for the remainder of this matchup.
Yeah, I don't know, Parker. A 9-3 scoreline, even if you're recovering those last 2 rounds, it's still tricky for Version 1. They're not in a great spot right now. The one thing I will say is their lineup is much better, in my opinion, on defensive Haven. You've got that Toxic Screen working a lot. Astra's going to be great here, as is Killjoy. So we'll see if it makes all the difference.
Pistols out, utility out, at least for what they can see. Trailblazer going to give information. Zelsa's waiting very patiently. Whippy falling off. They're just on defense right now.
Oh! He made the wrap!
He got all the
now
way around.
Inside.
Oh, and it's just a bloodbath. An absolute frenzy right now. By carrier killed, obviously.
I got the spike.
What comes next? That's the real question.
They've made that recovery. They're going to be able to get that plant down, but it's not as good as they thought it would be initially on the entry. T1 making that wrap really impressive, but now they find themselves in this 2 versus 3. The action by connector to spawn, not going to work out in favor of T1, and now it's a flank from Zelsis. He's in the perfect position to lock this one up, and he will take down Dawn, and the second. There goes automatic. It's an easy disable of the spike.
Well, it took a little bit of time for Zelsis to find his footing, but it seems that he's fully online. I mean, can you blame him? How many days has it been since he played an actual match of Valorant like this? So, he's been heating up. He went almost the first half without a single kill, but now he's got some very high impact frags and is up to 7 thus far. And he's almost top frag. That's how miserable things have been on the killing side of Version 1. On the utility side and on the actual objective play, Version 1 had been quite strong, but they were simply outfoxed by T1 on those retakes. Obviously, that doesn't really matter now that Version 1 is on defense. We'll see if V1 can do the same kind of damage on their takes back towards the site. As, well, the stack up from T1, you can see those tracers. They're going to be hitting C real hard, or at least they were. The call was made. Smoke was out in front of them, and now instead, they're going to look elsewhere. It still could be a C take. It could just go through garage, but they've also got the potential for a B lined up. Curry will be the first one into garage through the doors. There's nobody in front of him. He doesn't have to worry about a head-to-head.
This is going to be tricky, though. Garage could be a death sentence when it's set up well, and it looks like Version 1's ready for this. Vanity with the initial challenge, and he's taking that fight direct to them. Almost gets 2, but automatic will get 1 with the classic. Whippy, though, ready from logs, and the flash comes out perfectly timed. Down goes Whippy, and now C-site control in favor of T1.
No tracers will be spotted there as, well, Zelsis is going to do what he can to stop them. Spike down, so you're working with the timer right now. Could be absolutely monumental for T1 to try and keep this one together. Penny stopping them in their tracks. It's Dawn versus Penny into a 1v1. Spike down means that Penny's going to have to bait this one out. There you go. Sound Q sees the shoulder of the Omen, and Penny is better in the duel. Objective is theirs as well. And Version 1 take the very first 2 rounds of their defensive half.
What a nice try from T1. They made the entry happen in through C. It's reminiscent of one of those rounds that Version 1 actually managed to win on their attacking half, where they wrapped quick into C through garage. You know, the interesting thing is that garage pressure, again, it's just lacking for both teams. Obviously, playing far out of garage is not a new thing, but it's not working out great for the defense so far through this map, at least. Obviously, this 1v1 at the end, you know, Penny's going to have the advantage there, and he played it masterfully. Great fake out on the defuse.
Thing to keep in mind of this scoreline that you see up at the top now is basically a full buy for both of these teams. Is that this map selected by Version 1. Failing to win it pushes us to Icebox, which was T1's map choice.
Yeah.
So that's just something to keep in the back of your minds. Spot that we just saw Curry got the very first kill off of onto Penny. That's been very pivotal for both of these teams, but T1 usually prevails when it comes to the conflict there. It was Automatic's playground for so long on the first half. Things have changed, though, and a bit of a scout as the Wolves come out for Skadoodle. Automatic now stopping that intel. Version 1 sweeping in. They might have forfeited the first kill, but they find the next 2, and then a third added to that, a 4th as well, as they are just cleaning everything up. Brax will now be the one to try and hold this off for T1. Wary of somebody being on the flank. Version 1 just showing that this is a defender-sided Haven at the moment.
Yeah.
It looks like Brax is just trying to save. I mean, he's got 45 seconds to kill. Nobody's moving a muscle, though. They know that they've got the spike down, and Brax realizes how tough it's going to be to pick this up.
Yeah, I think at this point, Brax would be well off to save the Vandal, just keep himself in contention with the very little armor he has left in the rifle. Moving forward into the next round. Long time to wait, though, and this is good time for teams to talk about what they want to do in the next round. And I imagine T1 are probably doing just that. They need to plan out an execution because currently, Parker, honestly, their executions are falling just a little bit flat. The only round that came even close was that first execution through C, but obviously since that was a disadvantaged buy, there wasn't a lot that T1 could have done in that post plant. I love the utility use, by the way, in this round from Version 1. The Toxic screen was great there, super pivotal. Whippy's positioning in general was great as well. I love the collapse into A and the retake preemptively before they even lost control of site. Good to see.
All those first 2 pistol rounds went for T1 when they were on defense. Now for Version 1, on their defensive stat, and then the third round carrying over as well. Unfortunately for T1 fans, means that they're going to be hurting for at least the next round. They're going to give Brax the Vandal, but that's about it. The rest of the team is going to be fighting for picks and then trying to pick up some of the guns that are in the hands of Version 1 as it's a full buy from them. This looks like it could be another C take, or at least attempted C take. Kennedy gets spotted and has to fall off. Penny is there for insurance.
I like what I'm seeing from Whippy here. He's playing Garage now, and he's playing it a lot more far forward. I think this is a good play because we've been dealing with Garage problems for a long time for both teams, and Whippy can indirectly hold that Garage bottleneck despite the smokes that we're seeing from Dawn.
Sitting over now. Vicey waiting for Penny to try to achieve something against Automatic. We talked about the patience from Team 1. We'll come back to it a number of times, but they're showing it now on attack too, as they're getting the call, and it looks like it's going to be a sweep over to B.
Ooh.
Slowly taking as much control of the map as they can. There go the Seekers. And Curry will follow them in. Zelsis will be the one to quarterback this. He takes out a Seeker and Curry to boot, looking for more. Effie steals that one away from him, and a second now is for Effie's on the board. A third. He'll take them all back. Brax could be the quad for Effie's, but no, Penny's credited with it. There's nothing that T1 can do right now. As you look at it, this is an impressive 4 rounds in a row for Version 1. In fact, it's technically 6 rounds in a row going back to the first half.
Yeah, beautiful stuff from Version 1, to be sure. That push into B, I mean, we could see from the offset that it was ill-fated, as Zelsis was fully set up with all of his utility from Killjoy stacked on that B bottleneck. As soon as T1 came flooding through, oh, an absolute slaughter. And there were such fast rotations from Version 1 as well. Effie's coming from A-Link almost immediately into the fight. And that's great to see that teamwork come through. The communication is clearly flowing on Version 1. They really want to get themselves back into this. They're still down 2 rounds as T1 take their tactical timeout, but this is definitely looking more recoverable.
This is a follow-up to Brax taking an essential timeout, or essentially a timeout as well, in the previous round where he spent the final 45 seconds saving the Vandal and just waiting very patiently. His team likely talking amongst themselves to try to right this ship. It's going to be it's going to be a tough one in this particular round. Tactical timeout is now coming to an end, and there's the buy phase to see as T1 will buy full armor, full weaponry, and they'll be ready to engage on this full buy against Version 1 as well. You look at the stats right now for the defenders, by the way, and boy, oh boy, it is overwhelming. There have only been 3 rounds won by the attackers up to this point. So winning 9 for T1 on defense is pretty good, but at some point this dam is going to have to break for them if they want to possibly prevail 4 rounds away from knocking V1 out of this map.
Again, the presence from Whippy. Wherever he's playing, he's always right in front of the push. It's going to be a Garage into C take here for T1, and oh no! A rock in a hard place for Skadoodle, and he goes down to Zelsis.
Not a fun place to be when the Nano Swarm is just chipping away at your HP, and Zelsis doesn't even need to be that close in proximity to it. Gravity Well sucks on Dawn in, and Dawn needs to get that spike down. They bought themselves about 5 seconds worth of time. Lockdown ensuing, so Version 1 will now be able to retake with this here. They've got intel on the spike. They see exactly where it is as T1 falls off. They see the radius of the lockdown. They're not going to contest it. So Version 1's retake now working out in their favor, trying to scout C long with the ultimate from Effie's. He's not going to find anything yet. Whippy steps up to try and delay, and he does so miraculously. Zelsis has plenty of time to get that spike. And it's yet another round for V1. They are 1 away from tying this map up.
Wow, interesting round there, Parker. The quick action in through Garage to C was read beautifully by Version 1. They set themselves up specifically to counter that. It looks like they were expecting it because you had the Viper who was playing in B with her utility ready for C. You've got Zelsis with that cutoff as well in through Connector. The only thing that really went wrong there for Version 1 was maybe a little bit of mistiming on their utility. The lockdown was a little bit too slow. Some of the anti-plant was a little too slow, but it didn't end up mattering because they were so ready to take T1 at long and retake and defuse that spike.
Automatic gives his position away now in sewers, heading towards A. That's valuable information for the defenders. Version 1 can play off of that. They've got tons of utility from Zelsis Killjoy stacked up on A with Viper, Whippy standing side by side. Viper's ultimate is also up. So at some point, they can do their best for a retake and try to confuse Team 1. Team 1 will literally do anything at this point for a single round on attack. It's a full buy on their end. We're still uncertain of where they want to go, but right as I say that, it looks like C's the target. Skadoodle falls, shot gracefully by Penny. Very next one up, playing over by this garage window. Penny's still eyeing that same spot. Don't blink. You can get the shot down if you want. Dawn managing to get the spike down. There they go. The retake will work out as the numbers for T1 fall. Objective play is good. Automatic now will try to pinch them. He could have a miraculous lineup, but he gets out-dueled by Zelsis. Brax the next one in line of defense. He gets shut down, swiftly removed. Dawn, can you be the hero for your team? You start with 1, but that's all you're going to get. It's yet another round for Version 1, and we've got ourselves a tie game.
Beautiful retake there for Version 1, and T1 still unable to get their first attack. They have been struggling with this problem, Parker. The only round that came even remotely close was that 1v1 on C so long ago. I think that was round number 2 in this second half. There's been a lot of opportunities. That one right there from Automatic almost could have been a spray down, but not going to happen. They're just too ready for the retake as well on Version 1's side. It's great to see because we saw this reflected in the first half as well. T1 were patient, calculated with the retakes. They did not overstep their bounds. They went together as a team. It's the same thing now with Version 1, and it just seems to be a heavily defender-favored Haven right now.
And so well played by Penny as well to get that initial pick off of C-Link, then fall back and watch the window leading to C in Garage and play that spot quite aggressively. Viper's Pit, by the way, going out. We see it engulfing the A site. And that's where the spike looks to be. It's over by A long in the hands of Skadoodle. He was the first casualty in the previous round. You're going to have to get to the site intact this time if you want to do something with it. They'll wait out this ultimate or maybe even fall off. A B take is in their hands, but oh no, there's a flank coming in from the Astra of Vanity. Do they know about this positioning? They might be walking headfirst into this, and they do just that. Vanity can't connect more than one, though. Shut down by Curry. Good news for Dawn, as there was somebody there by their side. Penny backs away over towards C as Automatic takes charge of the B site, spike in hand, and that will be a successful plant. Retake now. T1 in free fall, dropping 7 or 8 consecutive rounds in a row, not where they want to be. So, Version 1, just need to sit on this. What are you going to do? T1 will be babysitting the spike. Curry and Penny, round 2, same spot. Penny prevailed last time around. Will lightning strike twice? Curry looking for the jiggle peak. All the while this is happening, timer continues to go. Nice shot from Automatic, and Skadoodle 2 from Automatic. Huge plays, and it's a thrifty round from T1. Finally, they break the streak, and with it, they find their first round on attack.
Wow, if I'm not mistaken, those last 4 kills came from Sheriffs, Automatic, and Skadoodle. Beautiful play from those two. And I was about to make a note of how, oh yeah, they got another rifle because Vanity overextended into grass. And, you know, he got 1 kill. Luckily, the second entry was Curry with the only rifle on his team at the time. So yeah, 2 rifles now. You can make something happen with that. But that wasn't even necessary. It's the Sheriffs that come in clutch. You love to see it. Interesting stuff to happen there. And yes, as you said, Parker, finally, E1, they get their first attack round. Good stuff.
Story of that operator in the hands of Automatic. It's still there, but this time around, and he's doing his best impression. T1's focus will be on the B site. An Astra Star right in front of them. Waiting very patiently. Vanity's going to be the one to hold off on B for now. You can sub in Zelsis as well, who'd been playing on that spot, and you can see all of the Killjoy utilities stacked up into the main doorway of B. And that'll be a nice surprise for T1 when they wander on in. Penny and Curry have just been in a battle to the death in the same spot. All of this occurring over by Garage, and, well, Curry has... well, he's 1 for 1 at this point. So who takes the lead in the best of 3? 30 seconds burned, and really nothing much has happened. They're both posturing. T1 seem to have their sights set on a C take now as they've fallen off. Their attention on B is gone. That's a nice shot from Penny on Automatic to start this off.
Yeah, not easy to deal with that. The Astra Star, though, detonates. There you go, another for Penny. He lines up for the 3rd, but can't land the shot. Still, though, this execution in through Garage is entirely blunted.
Tries a shot through the door, can't find anything. Final 30 seconds now for both of these teams to try and work with it. The streak that V1 was on broken. A flash comes out, but Penny's not blind. No, Penny sees clear as day, but so does Skadoodle. Answering back, even though it's Skadoodle in a 1v4. Sustaining some damage, but nowhere near enough time. He'll walk into the waiting arms of Vanity, and these teams are as evenly matched as you can hope. Scoreline through 20 rounds is 10-10.
It's got to be some kind of cruel irony that the two best attack rounds we have seen thus far from T1 were both pistol rounds. It was the second round after they lost the initial pistol. They kind of tried to force, and then we saw recently with the Sheriffs, they managed to get that win. I guess not true pistol rounds, obviously, but you get what I'm trying to get across here. They didn't have their full kit. Every time T1 has the rifles, they've got the utility. They're playing a little bit too slow, a little bit too methodical, and it's allowing Version 1 to rotate and make the adjustments necessary to win either on a retake or an initial rebuff.
There's the very first kill coming out from Automatic. He adds another to the tally, reigning supreme now. He's going to charge forward. Classic out. 3 kills for him, and the Operator and him will be once again familiarized with one another. This is T1's dominance in this round, leaving Zelsis and Whippy to try and clutch for their team, knowing what they have going against them. Skadoodle blazing a trail. He spots both, in fact. That's very valuable intel. And now T1 can collapse on this if they really want to, once, of course, the spike gets planted, and it has. Dawn will be guarding this link to see if somebody pushes from that direction. From spawn? No. Version 1 quite happy to just simply wait, at least for now. Smoke goes out from Dawn. Whippy will have to fight through it. In the midst of the cloud, very limited vision. Zelsa sneaking his way over towards window. This could be a flank, but no. He might walk into that tripwire that's been laid down by Curry. The timer all the while continuing to tick down. Are we going to see a save here? Whippy's now backing away. It doesn't look like they're going to get much. Automatic was ready and waiting. 4 kills for him. You'll need Whippy for the ace, but it doesn't look like they're going to get it as the Viper on V1 will fall off, and T1 will take their second round on attack. It's 11-10.
So obviously we didn't actually get to see it on screen, but that round was mostly just Automatic coming up through short, 2 on the entry. Then he bursts through the cover that was protecting, what was it, Penny, I believe, at long. Had op in hand, he was ready to rebuff a long push, but there was no long push. It was, in fact, Automatic coming in through sight who ended up getting that kill. And yeah, clean sweep for Automatic. Really hero play for that round.
Very well done from T1, and they woke up at the right time now as they're only 2 rounds away from closing this one out. Jump peek around the corner for Dawn to try to get information. Skadoodle, wolf in hand. There it goes. Unleash the hounds, they say. Information on the B. They see that it's empty, and there's for the taking. An Automatic will break forward. Still got knives in hands. Looks the wrong way. That indecision costs him his life. Zelsis opens up this round.
It's not a great start there, obviously, for T1, and they're going to rotate over to C, but the enemy is ready. V1 is positioned on log. Ska gets one, and the other for Curry. So T1, despite the enemy team being ready for them on C, is able to clean sweep it. And they'll even get another by Link. Oh no, Dawn cutting down Vanity, who oversteps his bounds, not waiting for the rest of his team to try and retake this site.
And they're not looking to fall off at all. The only body from T1 that's hit the ground so far is Automatic. Penny still has Operator in hand with Effie's side by side. They are very close, and an arrow will go over from Effie's to try and give information. Will it get anything? It's competing arrows as Brack shoots one of his own. Effie's now in the retake, still jiggling. Nobody from T1 visible, at least not yet. There goes the shot from the Operator. It's Dawn to capitalize, and Penny realizes that the Operator that he has is more valuable than the round. This is going to put T1 on map point as Penny falls off to save the Op. And what a comeback it's been from T1 and a turnaround on this half.
Yeah, really. Putting the pedal to the metal there towards the end. It was getting a little bit scary, to be honest, Parker, with T1 unable to win any of their attack rounds. But again, their lethality has returned. And a big part of that round for me is just, again, it's T1 just going for it. Just seizing the day. Carpe diem and all that, yada, yada. It's beautiful when you have a team able to throw their bodies at the problem and it succeeds so well as T1 just did. V1 also, though, I have to say, Version 1... Odd positioning. Again, that overextension from Vanity trying to retake alone, and then 2 players still on C, not able to get a single kill on the initial entry. That's problematic. That's going to cost you a round for sure.
Well, T1 and what could be the very final round now. Scouting out C, wondering if that's where they want to go. A jiggle jump, and Penny can't hit the shot onto the Cypher of Curry as he now falls back. They know that the Operator is over by A. Every single bit of information you get is critical for how you want to take these sites. And what looked like it was lined up for a C take, well, it still could come to fruition, as they're focused on taking Garage on T1's side.
Looks like T1 just wants to size up their options, which is fair. We see this before on Haven, where the attacking team will just kind of look for the opportunities as they're presented with them. None being presented as of yet from version 1. They have extended their operator into short. That's automatic down there holding the line. But he's likely to punish you if you decide to peek him. Looks like it's going to possibly be something by C or B as the utility starts coming out.
It's going to be a B stack up. Oh, automatic if you knew just to pull the trigger right there. But he does so on the F's. He'll have to turn around. Lockdown goes down. Spike will need to be planted at some point. Skadoodle's doing just that. Or was, rather. And he sees the burst. As they'll come through from A. He connects on automatic. Pulls out the knives. Looking for one on the Skadoodle, but his shoulder shows. Immediately onto the objective. Skadoodle with Spike in hand. It's a successful plant. T1 have the A site. It'll be a retake now from version 1. And that's been the story of this map so far, is can you successfully retake on defense? For both of these teams, the answer more often than not has been yes. For version 1, it must be a yes, or this map goes to your opponents. Zelsis sees two of them. No, he misses his shots on a Skadoodle, raining from above. It's heaven, but they're being sent to hell. Skadoodle with 4 big kills, and map 1 goes to T1.
Beautiful play from Skadoodle.